welcome to my channel. I'm Christina from City Bright Knits. Thanks so much for popping in today. If you're new here, hi, so happy to have you. I am going to be talking today about travel projects and whips that I'm packing for crochet for August. I'm going to be gone the whole month, so I need something that's going to keep my hands busy for a couple weeks and also doesn't take up that much space. I don't want to have to take a bunch of yarn with me that's going to take up that much room in the suitcase. I'm thinking to take something small, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that this month I have been talking all about summer scrap yarns. I've been stash diving and using every weight of yarn I have, from bulky acrylic to fine weight sock yarn, and I've just been having a great time mixing unexpected colors together and sharing tips that I'm learning from these projects with you. So I wanted to pop on and ask you what you think about scrap yarn projects and maybe a great one that I can take on the road. So to get started, let me show you the scrap yarns that I'm talking about. These are scrap yarns. These are something I'm sure every crocheter and knitter has in their closet full of yarn. It's just little balls of yarn that are left over from other projects. This is just one of my baskets. I actually have another one on the shelves behind me, but it's all various colors that I think represent me, City Bright Knits, and how I like to express myself through crochet and color. So this is the great thing about scrap yarn, because every crochet and fiber artist has their own unique color palette. Whether you know it or not, it's just this inherent color choice that you make, whether you're into grays and browns or blues and whites or pinks and purples, whatever it is. I feel like those colors come together and over time really create a palette of you. For me, I've noticed myself using a lot of light blush pink, a lot of teal blue, and a little bit of yellow and purple. These seem to be my colors since I've gotten started all the way back in 2012 until now. These are just a collection of little yarns that are special to me, and the great thing is each time you hold one in your hands, you're just reminded of the bigger project that it came from, and it's just it's the vibe I've been having all summer. So it's scrap yarn summer, and that's where we're headed into August. So I did a poll over on Instagram to ask, are you into scrap yarns, or is it intimidating? Is it just something that you don't do? You don't save your scraps, or do you save them and not know what to do with them? So this is something that I'm working through now. I've been making a bunch of small little motif with my scrap yarn, which is super easy. For instance, I've been making just some basic granny squares. These are solid granny squares, so they don't have the clusters of 3. They're more worked double crochet into each stitch, and they're just 3 rounds per square, so they stay quite small. And I'm making them all with scrap yarns, so they vary in size a little bit, but really once they're joined in a project, you won't be able to tell the variation. And I'm even changing colors as I go. I ran out of this peach color and I just continued it in pink. And so these are what I'm making with my little scrap yarns. I don't know what I'm gonna make with these yet. I know there's a beautiful Battenberg blanket that's a bunch of these colored, kind of between checks of color and white, and it's just a beautiful look, but I haven't committed to that yet. But if I did, I would use these towards that. The other thing I've been making are these flowers, or I'm calling them flowers. So these are part of a motif that I'm making a top out of, and I've actually started joining the top, and I'll show you that in a second. But these are also made using scrap yarns, just various colors that I have to come together. And like I said, they're all different weights and materials, and so you can see there's some size variation. But when I join them, really this is gonna stretch to about that size, and you won't be able to tell. I'll show you on what I've already made. But I've been making these. They're just a whole bunch of different crazy colors that come together, and so this is the mood board that I'm having for August. So these are just leftover colors and bits that I've made with those scrap balls that I showed you. So grabbing my scrap yarns, I'm thinking to take these scrap yarns with me on the road because they're quite small, and I can just grab them as I go, and I don't have to worry about bigger balls of yarn tangling up and this kind of thing. So that's the direction I'm going in. Let me show you the work in progress that I'm already making. So using my scrap yarns and making these little scrappy flowers with them, I have grabbed some of this Kobu yarn from Lion brand to kind of like offset all those colors. And what I am making is a beautiful top that caught my eye from the moment I saw it. And it is called the Cabanarama top from Lane Publishing or Lane Magazine. This is what I have joined so far. It's all scrap yarn colors and this beautiful motif. You can see how the flowers are coming together with that white Lion brand yarn that I've used. And like I said, you can't really tell that they're all different sizes or weights of yarn. They really come together nicely. It's going to be a full top with a collar and some ribbing in the front. Right now I only have it joined to the vest stage. I can show you that, but it's quite pretty and it's colorful, and I can't wait to finish up the edging. It's going to come together in the front and have a nice collar, and I'm considering doing that in the white and just making the collar and ribbing in the white. However, this is the amount of yarn I have left, and so if I run out, I'm just going to embrace the scrappy theme and do some of the edging in scrap colors. So this is what I'm making. I'm definitely taking this on the road with me. It's too much of a commitment that I've put into it to not finish it this summer. Plus, I think it'll make some really pretty travel pictures on the road for my little scrapbook. And so I'm taking this with me for sure. Folds up kind of small. I only have this one thing of yarn that I need for the edging. I will take some of the scrap yarn balls just in case I need more colors to edge it with. So I do have that. And I think with taking these scrappy yarn balls, I'm going to pick another scrappy project. For instance, if I want to turn these into a blanket, or what I really have in mind is to use these for granny squares that are a little bit bigger motif. So what I'm planning on making with these yarn balls are granny squares that are about 5 inches by 5 inches. These granny squares here are only about probably 1.5 inches, and I'm thinking just much bigger scale, making them about 5 inches. And I want to use the linen stitch. If you are familiar with linen stitch, you'll also know it as moss stitch or seed stitch. I feel like these are the names that it commonly goes by, and it's all the same stitch. It's a simple repeat of single crochet and a chain space alternating across 2 rows. So it's so mindless and easy. I feel like sometimes if I have to follow an intricate pattern or something, if I'm on a plane or in a car, I tend to get a headache, so I don't want to do that. And because my yarn balls are so small and like such small quantities, I don't want to do a stripy blanket or a bigger project where I know I'm not going to have enough yarn going into it. I know I need to keep it into like a smaller travel project. So that's what I'm thinking. I think I'm just going to make linen stitch granny squares using this myriad of colors, and it's just hopefully going to turn out really pretty and eclectic, and it's something that you can just save granny squares for a rainy day and you can turn them into a blanket, a cardigan, a long duster, whatever you want. And so this is the way I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just take a gamble and take all of my little scrap balls with me on the road and kind of just pick and choose and see what colors speak to me. So for traveling, let me show you some of my favorite things to take with me. I love to take a pair of children's scissors because they're dulled on the edge and they don't get flagged at airport security because they're under the appropriate length for a pair of blades or scissors. So they're really easy to travel with, and also if they do get snagged at airport security or something, they're not expensive to replace. So you don't want to take your expensive nice novelty scissors with you. I love to take a pair of children's scissors, and they come in cute colors, so there's the fun in that too. I also love to take a hook size that I know I'm comfortable with and that I'm going to use. So for me in this small scrap yarn project, I'm taking a 3.75 and a 4.5 millimeter hook. I could opt to go smaller, but this is just kind of for the fun of mindless crochet, so I don't want anything to be too fiddly. So I'm just taking somewhere in the 3 millimeter and somewhere in the 4 millimeter hook sizes that I know that I'm going to use. I also have this interesting tool that I received a few years ago by Boy Aluminum Hooks, and it's a travel crochet toolkit. So it has 4 different hook sizes that just fold down in here, and on the plastic right here, it tells you what size hook it is. So if you forget what size hook it is, you can just see here, and then it works like this. It folds up, and you just hold this part in your hand and you begin working. I hold the crochet hook in a knife technique, and some people hold it more like a pen. I hold mine like a knife. So this works like actually pretty well for me. It does not have any scissors included on it, and it doesn't have like a little shaft to put any tapestry needles or anything like that. It's just purely the hooks. However, if you're someone who likes to mix up hook sizes, I definitely recommend one of these tools. I know they come in 2 options of like a set of bigger hooks and a set of smaller hooks. I'm not sure which one this is, but it does have a 6.5 millimeter and a 4.25 millimeter and a 3.5. So it has like 4 different hooks on here, and that's just a nice little travel project if you're looking for a novelty hook. I always like to take a tape measure. I used to have the kind of tape measure that, you know, you just wind up by itself, but it always became like unwound. So this one I love because as you pull it out and use it, it has both inches and centimeters, and it has this little button that you can push, and it just sucks the tape right back in, and it has this little tab so you never it never gets lost. And this is from Clover. It's a great little tool or sewing tool. Clover has a lot of sewing accessories as well as for knitting and crochet, but this is a great one, and it's just a handy little tape measure. As well as I love to keep some tapestry needles on hand. This is just something that I got at Hobby, and it holds the tapestry needles. And then I like to have various sizes in there, from ones with big eyes and smaller eyes, and I do prefer the plastic ones just because when you're traveling and if you forget what you're doing, you put it down, the next minute you come back, they're just less sharp and that kind of thing, and it doesn't matter if it gets broken, you can easily replace it. So I like to take the plastic ones and I keep them in a little container like this that I got on Hobby. I have a whole bunch of other things in my little project bag. I've been using this project bag for years. It's a great size, and it has a zipper, and everything's just loose in there. It's not too well organized. However, I find it to be very convenient. It fits a variety of hook sizes, including this larger one that I have in there. And then I also have obviously a bunch of stitch markers, and I do have the fancier stitch markers. However, when it comes to traveling, I'm fine with just these plastic ones that you can get pretty much at any knitting accessories store, because then if you have the handmade ones and they break for some reason, you don't want to have your nice handmade ones break. So I like to take just the plastic ones and not worry about it. So that's what's inside my travel crochet bag that's going to go with me. And while I have you here and I'm talking about whips and I'm talking about scrap yarns, let me show you one that I've started earlier in the spring. I want to say in April, I was incorporating eyelash yarn into a scrap yarn project. And this project is ongoing. It's not quite finished, and I don't think I'm going to finish it before I leave for this trip. However, let me show you right now a little behind the scenes because I haven't shared it yet. I've been making a scrap yarn dress using a classic V-stitch, and I incorporated all of my different acrylics and cottons and basically all my medium weight yarns together with eyelash yarn. Eyelash yarn has this beautiful fluffy texture. It's a great alternative if you like the look of mohair but you are allergic to natural fibers. This eyelash yarn is acrylic and synthetic, so it is a great solution for people who don't like the woolly fibers or are allergic to them on their skin. So let me show you. It's not finished and it's quite long. It is a full length halter dress with scrappy colors, and you can see that little eyelash halo. I am going to try it on. It is seamed together, the sides are seamed, and it has this beautiful fringe. I'm going to incorporate the ends as if it were a fringe rather than sewing them all in. And I need to create a tie for the neck and that kind of thing. But this is the scrap yarn dress that I'm not going to take on the trip. It'd be great to take it on the trip and maybe get an exotic background for it, but I just don't have the space and I don't want to have to fiddle with all the loose ends and stuff like that. So I'm keeping it just to my small scrap yarns for this trip and for today. So let me ask you if you have any ideas about scrap yarn projects that you like, that you've enjoyed. Comment below, let me know if you have a favorite blanket, top, bag pattern, whatever it is. I'm not gonna be choosy, but I do want to use my small scrap yarns. So I'm asking you all, if you have a great, brilliant idea, please do share with me, because I've been searching on Pinterest and on YouTube and on Instagram just to try to like get inspiration and see what project I might want to work on, and nothing has quite hit yet. So I wanted to pop on and ask you what you think about scrap yarn projects and maybe a great one that I can take on the road.